just having the right people together, but also like keeping everybody together.
No, 100%. You have to have that team chemistry. If someone's off, it's going to mess up the entire game.
A couple guys were starting to get them at the south boundary.
Yeah. And you guys ended up on top, man.
Before last year, we were like nobody.
Yeah.
Now it's like
everybody wants to fish with you guys.
Yeah. My favorite thing people love to say though, they're like, man, like even if you guys would have just like placed in the top 10, it would have been great. And it's like, nah.
You've landed on the science of fishing, where passion meets precision. Before we dive in, we would like to thank Bloody Battery, Flush Master, and Black Reef Co. for sponsoring this episode.
What's going on, everybody? Mark here with another episode of The Science of Fishing. I'm here with the Quest for the Crest champions, Team Liquidated, Captain Danny, and team owner Patrick. How are you guys?
Doing great, doing great.
It's Friday, it's hard to complain.
Yeah, man, yeah. Dude, this is an awesome tackle room. This is freaking sweet. 2024 champs, Quest for the Crest. Like, talk to me about it, guys. Talk to me about the whole experience. New team, right?
Brand new team.
Brand new team. Yeah. Danny said he wanted to cut the checks. I was like, are you sure? No, but brand new team first. It's not even been a year. Coming up in November to be a year. I had a crazy idea. I wanted to buy a boat, and then I called Danny because me and Danny have been friends for a while, and I was like, hey, what do you want to do this winter? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, you want to have like a fishing team? And I think it kind of just was like, we kind of joked about it, but then it kind of became a thing, and then Dust 'em Off happened.
I think we talked about it like a month before, kind of joking back and forth. Started a team, let's do a Sailfish series, and then we bought a boat and made it happen. So
that's awesome.
I bought, the funny part was I literally got this house before I bought the boat, because I was like, we need a house that's close to the inlet for the bait for the fishing tournaments, right? Like we were like, all right, we got to be in this area. So I literally got the house, and then I went and got a boat. And then it all just kind of became a thing. Like, we didn't have any plans. I mean, December was like, all right, we'll figure it out, make it happen.
So talk to me about Dust 'em Off. What happened at Dust 'em Off?
Whew. Dust 'em Off.
Yeah.
First tournament.
I think we got the boat a couple days before the tournament.
Literally the day before the tournament.
I think we, 2 days before the tournament, I think we fished that a couple days right before it. I mean, makeshift live well in there, and it was, we made it work.
Yeah.
You know, we had everything like still coming, like, the boat was in the yard for 6-7 weeks. Right, new motors, like we did the whole boat.
Right.
And then right before Dust 'em Off, I think it finally splashed and made it work somehow. I mean,
yeah,
fishing was really slow that day, but
it was really slow. But in our defense, I think we were like, what? We had 4 fish, and I think the tournament winners had 5.
I think we had 3. They might have
4. Yeah, I think it was so close. Like everyone in the top 10 was basically tied. Right. So like
3rd through 9th had 3 fish.
Yeah, I didn't feel bad about it.
Yeah,
for sure.
It was good.
Oh, that's all right. So you guys put that team together. Talk to me about how like you decided who to put on the team. Danny, was it you that really masterminded it, or?
Yeah, luckily Danny grew up down here. I'm from Central Florida, Orlando area, so moving down here, I don't have a ton of friends that like are big into fishing. Somehow Danny knows everybody in South Florida, and you know, the cool thing is we had already kind of fished in some tournaments. He'd fished on Gator 1 before, so he'd already kind of been through the tournament scene. He just got back from Costa Rica, done a ton of Marlin fishing. So I was like, well, this is perfect, because really I felt like Danny had a ton of experience, where a lot of guys here in South Florida get very, you know, stuck on one type of fishing, where Danny had fished on big boats. Danny had been places where guys were putting up 20, 30, 40 fish in a day. So I didn't think that Danny was by any means like really capitalizing on, you know, the skill that he had just by like doing charters. I was like, dude, it's time for us to get into the tournament scene. So pretty much gave him the reins. I said, hey, I'll buy the boat. You get the guys on the team. And it was funny because we had already fished with some of the guys on other tournaments, like I said. So it kind of just like instantly worked. And it's even funnier, I feel like, because your brother-in-law, Sean, we had always like been fishing together. We actually won a sword fishing tournament back in the day as a team. So me, Danny, and Sean.
19?
Yeah.
That was funny.
And the best is like me and Sean had almost gotten to like a fist fight that day over some chicken tenders or something on the boat. So when we were talking about this team, Danny was like, he's like, are you cool with Sean? And I'm like, bro, that was like 7 years ago. He's like,
I had to make sure. I had to make sure. I mean, you never know. But.
Yeah, it's weird though, because I do feel like I'm like, wait, I think everybody on the team is like from your high school somehow.
2 of the guys, yeah. I mean, well, I guess 3 of the guys, Sean.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much half the team kind of grew up with fish, you know, my whole life with kind of. And Patrick was like, hey, let's get a team. Ask these guys, you know, I fished with a bunch of people, and My brother-in-law, definitely. I mean, not anybody. I feel like he's not the best, like fisherman. He's not out there every day. He has another job. He's a firefighter. But me and him, like, know each other. And, like, just fishing, that chemistry. Like, he already knows what I'm about to do or vice versa. So getting him out there more and more definitely helps. But, I mean, he's good. And then we got Mark, our old mate. Got him from a tackle shop, and he brought in another guy. And, I don't know, the whole team just kind of fell into place.
We got some pretty good guys in terms of like experience. So like that have been around the scene for a while. Travis Clare has fished a ton. I mean, he was fishing on the LNH growing up as a kid. So I feel like anyone that's fished on the LNH is going to have an insane amount of just knowledge, right? Because if anyone knows Miami, if anyone knows South Florida, it's definitely LNH, and those guys are always killing it. So I was like, Travis, yeah, you want to fish with us? Like, hey, come, fish with us. So you really, it's weird about putting a team together because you need, number one, you got to have a captain who has like the drive and the vision to like make this stuff happen, but you need the team of guys who are going to work together because when you're sail fishing, it doesn't matter who caught the fish. It doesn't matter who got the release. At the end of the day, like when everyone's at the dock, if the team won, the team won. Like nobody's like, that's the reason we won because that guy, we might feel like that sometimes, but it takes a team. So it's really important to have that team chemistry, and that's the hardest part. I tell anybody about like having a fishing team is just having the right people together, but also like keeping everybody together. Like when it's slow, when it's bad, keeping the level of energy high, but also the mood.
Right. No, 100%. You have to have that team chemistry. You have to be able to have that cohesive unit because if something's off or someone's off, it's going to mess up the entire day.
Yeah, and everyone's got to trust each other too at the same time. Everyone's got to, just know like, all right, that's not the way I would do it, but he's doing it that way. Right. I mean, there's 1,000 ways to do it, so
it makes sense, man.
It's like everyone just got to trust each other and get out there and give it their all, and that's it.
I think it's hard too because like obviously me being the quote unquote owner, but also like fishing in the team, and then like I want to prove myself. I want to like show people that like, hey, like I can catch fish and I can do this, even though I'm not like maybe the best fisherman in the world. I think having that drive and putting that effort in to do it, you're gonna get the experience. And like we fish so much, so I felt like that was one thing I really wanted to prove to the team. Like, hey, like if there's a fish on the end of my rod, like don't worry, we're good. Like relax, like. Because sometimes, you get someone on the rod, you're like, oh, shit. Like, who let that guy on the boat? Like,
especially when there's money on the rod.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's the last person.
There's definitely a few people on the team where you're like.
I'd rather have on a rod, yeah.
Like, we have, like, Eric's, I don't know how to explain Eric. Eric is, like, South Florida country boy. I think he's got that on his back tattooed, right? Country. Yeah. He's just straight up country. But he's the guy that you're like, if he's going to risk life and limb to grab the leader, like, we made a rule. Like, anytime Eric's not hooked up, he's on the leader. Right. Because he's long. He's just going to go for it.
Got those long arms.
Yeah. And you got to commit, too. Because if you don't commit, it's like you only have that one split second. So you really have to kind of figure out who on the team can do, these little, like, specific jobs. So it's important to, like, find the strengths and then kind of see who works the best together. And that's my thing, like, too, with Danny sometimes is, like, when you're out there fishing, everyone's got an opinion. But, like, at the end of the day, Danny's got to make the call. Yeah. So if it's like, if we go north, we go south, do we make a move, do we reset, whatever it is, like, yeah, it's like, okay, get some feedback from the guys, but like Danny's really got to be the one who's like, yeah, this person might have said that, but like I've been out here the last 3 days, so I know it's going to be better here in the afternoon. So that's like the hard part about being a captain is like taking advice, but not letting it change your game plan. And I think other captains have talked about that too. Like just because you hear about somebody catching 3 or 4 fish, maybe at a certain spot don't mean like you should always make a move.
Right. So Dan, tell me about the mindset of being the captain, kind of like you are calling the shots. You are the guy that everybody looks to for direction and advice.
Good thing is I have a good group of guys, good team. I mean, they all, wherever, if I'm going, doesn't matter where I'm going, I feel like they all believe in me, and which is great. You need that. But yeah, the mindset is just, you try to come up with a game plan. I mean, thank God we pre-fish a lot. I mean, we put 450 hours on our motors in a couple months. Wow. That whole sailfish season.
How many days are you guys pre-fishing before the tournament?
Every day we
could. Yeah. So like, we were out there a lot, and just that helps. I mean, seeing water, seeing which way they're moving, kind of just tides coming out, trying to get in front of that, not, a half mile, but 2 miles in front of that tide. Right. I mean, we figured that out during the challenge. we caught some fish, saw it coming, and just jumped far in front of it. Caught another one too, but that tournament bite was going on up north, and we took off, that way. But
Patrick alluded to it a little bit that you have a lot of marlin experience and you've fished all around. Do you think that helps you down here in South Florida?
yes and no. I mean, just being on the rod, just seeing. I mean, a lot of it's driving the boat. You can get it on top of these fish, and it's just good overall. I feel like it's not like, just because of this, it's that. I mean, it's two completely different fish, especially over there in Costa Rica. Sure. But just the more experience, I feel like the better.
You like how many
marlin.
sailfish have you caught? In Costa Rica in one season compared to people who fish their whole lives in Florida.
Yeah, we did pretty good over there.
So just like
almost 300 we caught in 60 days of fishing. 276, something like that, sailfish, and 53 blue marlin.
What's been your best day?
Over there, I mean, a couple blues and over 35, 40 bites of sailfish. Really? Catching 25 of them maybe. Yeah. We're at 50% of our bite to catch hookup. They're not easy over there. I mean, they come in tricky, but I mean, it's just the boss too is on the rod. He wants to be on the rod a lot. Not Patrick, but the old boss. He definitely he was learning a lot. But no, you got to feed those things. I mean, free spool completely. Right. Not even a little bit of tension. If you feel them, they feel you, and you're not going to get that bite.
That makes sense. Go straight free spool.
Straight free spool, and then come up, lock it up, and hope he's there. Pretty much.
Pretty much.
If you fed him good enough, he'll be there.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. So let's walk through the quest for the Crest. All right, guys. Talk to me about each tournament. Talk to me about the mindset each tournament. Like what happened first tournament? It was Operation was one. Then we went to the challenge. Right? And then the
final sale.
Final sale.
What happened at Operation that kind of,
what was going on?
I think the best part about Operation was how, not that we had an ego, but I kind of just was like, we're gonna do this, right? Like we showed up at the captain's meeting. We're wearing these hoodies that literally say "cashing checks, breaking necks," right? And Danny's kind of like, he's.
I didn't want to wear it.
Yeah, to be honest,
like
everything that you see, like in terms of like whatever, like everything that's bold and crazy about Liquidated or whatever we do, like that's all coming from me. Danny's definitely like. He's not like a showboater by any means. Right. He's a pretty simple guy. He wants to go fishing, do his job well, but like, I'm the one that's driving a Ferrari or the Lambos and crazy stuff, and Danny's like driving the same truck he's had forever, and he's just like wants to go fishing and let his fishing speak for himself. So the first tournament, we kind of walked in there, and it wasn't that we were cocky. It was just like I just knew that we wanted it, Yeah. And I think that was the biggest thing, like wanting it. Like you got to want it, right? Like if you're not gonna win unless you like truly believe it, like. Because there's so many moments where you're just going to be defeated if you don't be like, oh, okay, we lost a fish, not a big deal. Like, we're going to get another one. So that first day, I mean, that was the best. Like, everybody around us is catching fish.
Yeah.
We fish right next to everybody. We're fishing next to Remix. We're fishing next to every top team, and we're seeing everybody catch fish, and we're like, what is happening? Yeah. Like, why? What are we got bad bait? Like, did somebody poison our bait? Like, what is going on?
Yeah, right at lines in, Amdallah. 2 minutes before lines in, he comes in. Sets up like right in front of us. It's a crowded area, so comes in right in front of us. Think lines in 8 o'clock. He hooks a double right there. I'm like, okay, well at least they're
right next to us.
Like literally, like I'm almost in his kite. So I'm like, okay, at least they're here, the fish. But then right behind us, hooked up, inside us, outside us. I'm like, what is going on? I think we had one on the flat and then pulled that one off.
It was flat column too, super difficult. It was like rainy, wet. Kites were falling out of the sky. Everybody was having trouble, but it's just insanely frustrating to see everybody else hooked up, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's just those fish came up underneath their kite. This happens so many times in a tournament where you see someone right next to you get a bite, and you're like, and really now it's like when that happens for us, it's like a reminder. Tell everyone like, hey, get focused. Like if they caught a fish next to us, like the next person who's getting one's coming to us. Right. So like be prepared.
Them and
those fish are moving past.
They're gonna come through the kite spread eventually.
Exactly. So it's not like you shouldn't be mad that someone got a fish next to you. It's like, hey, that's good. Like they got one, we're about to get one. So that's what we're always like really trying to like turn the bad into the positive. So you stay good and focused because that really is the best opportunity, especially now. Like if you get one, if one comes in on the short, it's like, oh right, like right now is the best time to get another one.
Right.
You know, bites bring bites. Trey Wheeler loves to say that. Like, he'll be, bites bring bites, guys. Bites bring guys. Like, all right, we know. Like, we're all sitting there, like, ready, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that first day, we were, 31st? We were taught,
End of day one, yeah.
Yeah.
We only caught one fish.
and Trophy
Leader,
Wife had, what, 7?
Seven.
Yeah.
And then you guys kicked it on day 2.
Day 2.
Insane.
yeah.
But remember, like, day 2 was nuts.
Well,
The conditions. We went from flat, calm, amazing, to all of a sudden, like, 30-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah. I fished that one next to you guys. I was
Yeah.
on the Miss Michelle, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That day 2, Saturday, it was funny because we had a choice. You know, we were talking, me and Danny, we were like, kind of like, all right, we could go south, fish sticks to everybody else, maybe get 2 or 3 fish, but like, that won't help us. So we have to make a choice, like a bigger kind of gamble. And that was like pretty much going out of the inlet. Danny was like, all right, left or right, you know? And I think, and it was like going left was not the easy choice.
No, but the day before, we ran up halfway through the day.
Yeah.
And we caught one fish up north.
Yeah.
And then at the end, by lines out, there's this really good edge. I felt like moving in. Remember that blue water? And then it felt like there was fish in there. We're catching them at the end of the day there. We pre-fished all like week up in that area, not south at all. So I'm like, there's got to be fish in that water. Like we were catching them in the afternoon or saw them in the afternoon. Really good blue line coming in. And
But, I mean,
that's what made our decision too. Like north wind coming, switched around, cold front. It was like, oh,
The conditions were nuts. Like,
yeah,
it
like
was
rough.
six
Exactly what you
6
want,
foot
but
all day.
What'd you end up for the final count for that day? How many fish was it?
on the second day.
Yeah.
Or, no, 7.
We caught 8 total. One day, one on Saturday we caught 7.
Right.
7 for like 11 or 12. Though.
Yeah. What's wild too, that was the best part is we started fishing the second day and there were actually a decent amount of boats around us, a lot of big
15
sport
boats,
fish. Catch
yeah.
23 was maybe 50
outside.
yards, from us, and we hooked up to a double right away. And they were probably they watched us like basically drift offshore because we were chasing
Well, all
down
the
the
boats
fish.
left.
Yeah.
Remember all the boats left because the bite was going off south.
People were getting them south.
Not going off, but they were getting them
them.
south and nobody up north was getting them.
Does that affect you at all when you hear the bite somewhere else?
I almost
Get the
was
itch.
about to leave and go that way because it was just me and catch 23 left up north. Yeah, pretty much.
Great.
And I was like,
man.
there was 15 boats who started out. You could see everybody. I could see fish on. He's like a mile ahead of me. And then everyone just started clearing out. I'm like, okay, maybe it's time. But it wasn't like a hot bite, still. Right. But the boats down south were kind of getting them.
Right.
But
and we stuck it out and like almost was like, all right, maybe we should pull them in. But we got bit right there. And I was
They
staying.
they were hungry that day. Like they were just like
staying.
we had multiple hookups where we were fighting 2 fish and then one would come in right next to the boat and like take a flat or something. And it was just like, there's another one. Oh, like at one point there was like 6 of them that we had hooked up and we were like breaking some off, but it was just they were coming in hot.
They came in quick.
I mean, they move in packs, right?
Yeah, no, that was a big pack.
You're feeding.
But the wild part, so Operation basically, we'll tell the story about the final, but Operation basically ended the same way the final sale kind of ended for us in terms of Fish On. So Fish On, obviously one of the top boats, maybe like the top boat up in West Palm, really the whole East Coast. So these guys, they're kind of like creeping up. Like we made a huge push in the morning, and then we didn't catch any more fish. I think after like noon.
12.
Yeah, after like 12 o'clock. Like no more sales. It just turned off. And then Fish On is kind of like they're creeping up. And we're like, oh crap, like we got to do something. Like we were, obviously trying to get a bite. And Fish On, actually, I think Andrew like called you. It was kind of like, what do you guys got going on up there? I don't know if he made a move because of that, but he ended up pretty much like right south of us. Right. So we could see him catching fish. We're seeing him turning, and we're like
backing down. I'm like, no,
yeah,
don't
like is
do
he
that to
hooked up
me.
right now? No way, no way. How is he hooked up again? And he was like on it. He was on a heater. And we kind of reset a little north to him again to get closer to kind of see if we get into his bite. And as soon as we reset, I put a flat out and a sail came up and grabbed it. I didn't even know, like I literally had the bail open and I'm like, where's this bait going? And I get tight and it's a sail and then we get the sail shark. So that would have been our ninth fish total.
8 fish that day. 9.
We got sharks.
Yeah, right at
in the last hour. No, just gone. We see the shark come in and it was gone. And the best, we were like, again, talking
an
to the
inch
leader.
away from the leader.
I think like when you go back and look at the GoPro footage, I think we had the release. It was on a flat, so the bimini was like kind of like you could see it, like you could see the bimini knot. So I'm like, I think
if Eric was
we had
there,
it. If Eric, that's the one thing.
we
Like,
would've got-
yeah, Eric
I
would have
think he
grabbed
would've
it for
got it,
sure.
yeah.
So But it was wild because we
didn't
pretty
need
much we were counting down, watching. Remember, you were up top, and we were just like watching fish on for an hour.
Yeah, that was the longest, like 4 hours to 1 hour to last 10 minutes was felt like 6 hours.
Yeah.
Like just like he caught I think 3 fish from like 3:15 to 3:45.
Yeah.
He caught like 3 fish. I'm like, now we're tied 8-8. One more fish and he's got it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because we tied.
thank God he didn't do that. Though. I think I talked to him in the Bahamas not too long ago. And he said he had a chance. I think of that tournament or that tournament or final sale. He definitely had the chances and it didn't happen.
Didn't happen for him. Good for you guys.
Yeah.
Thank God for us. I mean,
Here for us, we ended up winning. I mean, first year team. What's crazy is we won. So we won. Obviously, we were in the semi-pro division that first tournament. Like, so we're a semi-pro. We won. So now obviously no longer in semi-pro. We won pretty much everything. All the small, like, pretty much for the whole season, we won 36 feet and under.
Right.
For the small boat. I tell people like, hey, we're pretty much the champions. We beat everybody under 37 feet. You know, there's some big boats. You know, some good teams on 36, 37 foot boats as well. Like it's not
definitely a good team.
Yeah.
They're in a small boat.
I mean, Tunnel Vision, a lot of those guys from the Keys were on the 37 Freeman, so they're in that size. But going into to the challenge was interesting because,
Yeah, so what happened at the challenge? We go to that now.
yeah, I told you, I was like, we looked at the rankings. It was pretty tight. It was like trophy-wise, it was fish on. Everybody kind of was tight, you know, ranking-wise, because obviously first tournament, everyone's like right there. We had 1 point ahead. And I told Daniel, like, we have to get at least top 5.
Right.
Because if we don't get top 5, then we're just going to be too far away to like make it happen in Miami.
Yeah.
Remember that week leading into the challenge was the best week of the year.
Insane fish.
It was wild bites, I remember.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was like 30 fish days for some people, even more.
Yeah, no, it was going off.
Yeah.
That was fun.
In front of me, I have the Flushmaster by Seamule. This little device simplifies the process for flushing your engines. All it takes is 3 easy steps. Plug the hose into the device, plug the hoses from the device into your motors, and press on. That's all it takes to preserve the longevity of your motors, ensuring 100% clean water is running through them. So if you want to preserve your motors, go to seamule.com and go pick up a Flushmaster.
Well, I think our bet, we did a 20-day, we did a 20 on a half day, and we did a 22 on a half day.
Wow.
One of our motor lower units blew out right before the tournament, so we couldn't even like fish.
Yeah, lower unit power steering.
So we had to
When
pull the
we're like,
boat
"No,
out.
we got to get this fixed before the challenge. We could stay out here and crush it. We had 22 by
Before
11:30.
That was it.
But I was like, no, we gotta go. I got no power steering
Right.
and 2 motors right now. So
Better then than later.
yeah,
During the tournament.
exactly. So we need to get it fixed.
But you guys ended up where at that tournament?
Fifth place,
yeah.
fifth place overall.
Top 5.
It was that was the tournament where pretty much there was like one group of boats that was just like killing everybody.
Yeah.
And then we were just kind of hanging out like right there below that group. You know, I think it was like Sandman was just like they had 20 something
Yeah.
releases, Art Sap. Everybody was just like right there. It was the best of the best. Everybody was battling. So like it was a hard
Fish on
tournament.
was up there.
Because even like the lowest boats, I think had like 6 or 7 fish. You know,
Yeah.
like 30th place had 7 fish. You're like, wow, 7 fish like for 30.
Yeah, there
like,
was
it
a lot
was
of
crazy.
fish caught that tournament. Those 2 days, there was, I think that was a record for
Yeah,
Jamie's
Jamie's the
tournament.
most
Yeah.
releases ever.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie's been doing pretty well. He just had that world record.
The blackfish,
Yeah.
that thing was huge.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's crazy.
50 pounder. It looked almost like a yellowfin tuna.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a hybrid. It was a hybrid.
Yeah, like a big eye, maybe big eye or something. I don't even know.
But yeah, the challenge was kind of interesting because the bite was really hot. And it's weird because, like, you know, some people, they're like, oh, you know, when there's a lot of action, it's like anybody can get tight. And then when there's not a lot of action, but I think when there's a lot of action, that's when, like, the good teams are going to really shine because that's when, like, you're going to get those quads or the triple hookups.
And you have to maneuver that.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
we had
and also staying on top of, you know, the fish. Like you can get lucky, you can get 5 or 6, but continuously trying to stay on top of them, you know, getting back on them, and that's wherever, you know, you're going to stand out.
That makes sense.
So, and the multiple hookups.
That pre-fishing that week though was honestly like the biggest confidence booster I think for anybody because to catch like I think I won my total for that week was like 20 something just for myself release, and so like during the tournament it's like you get to stay long.
Here
You're
we
like
go. It's the same routine.
yeah, like I remember like there's literally GoPro footage. I'm like, all right boys, like we're hooked up. Let's just do what we always do. And it's just like, you know, like no questions asked, and that's like the biggest thing. The more you're out there pre-fishing, you're just gonna get so much more confidence because it's just because every fish, like you just know that like there's only a couple of different ways they're gonna fight. It's either gonna be easy, it's gonna be hard, or like, but you're gonna like find that little sweet spot. But the challenge was definitely interesting because everybody was kind of really hyped up going into that.
Yeah, and the bite went off up north on that
Yeah. Well,
the first day, but we were at Martini.
Yeah, the second day though, we fished right next to Sandman.
Yeah, up north.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty weird tournament because they were really far ahead, and Sandman was like a little bit north of us, and he kind of powered by us, and then he just stopped, and he set up his kites like, and he was deeper, and I'm told Danny, I'm like, what's John doing? Like, why is he out there? And Danny's like, I don't know, he must have saw something, but it was weird because he put his kites out, and then he just started moving in on like this line.
Interesting.
Sure, yeah.
And I had talked to him at the Kappas meeting. I was like, hey, like, I don't want to be nosy, but like, that was a weird move, right? Like, you set up right south of us and then kind of just like worked your way in. But like what was, he's like, oh, well, he had fished there the day before and caught fish. So again, it's like the pre-fishing. I think
Right.
it's funny because when we're free fishing, there's teams that you see out there as well. And there's teams that you don't see. And Sandman is a team that I know for sure that John, he'll run all the way to the south boundary and all the way to the north boundary the day before the tournament.
He'll just check it all out.
Yeah, he'll set up kites, fish for an hour.
Yeah. Checking out water, seeing what's going on. I mean, you got the upper hand if you know what's going on from south boundary to north boundary.
Right.
You're not guessing. You see it.
Yeah, exactly.
So he like snuck inside of us, and I see him hooked up. I'm like, he actually had a triple at one point, and we're looking at him, and it was weird because, I don't know for sure, but like I know I've talked to other captains, and they say they're like, I don't move the boat until I have to.
Right.
Like if I'm hooked up, I don't want no one to know.
Yeah.
So until I have to actually start moving the boat for the fish, I'm gonna make it look like I'm not hooked
They're
up.
just still dead boated.
Yeah, and he was just like sitting there, and I'm like, is he hooked? Like, what's going on over there? And then finally I see him turn, and I'm like, oh crap, he's hooked up.
Well, I saw one of his videos. I think he pitched that one and got the leader touch in like 5-6 seconds.
Yeah, they were in shallow.
Yeah,
They're like
like
100
Just the leader went out and they got it back. I was like, okay, yeah. Wish we all could be like that.
Yeah,
That'd be
right.
nice. I think he had 6 fish on, but he said 3 were bonita
Yeah.
or something, and 3 were sails.
Hey, that's good.
I'll take that.
And I think the day one we fished right next to him. Like that's what's so weird is like you'll fish right next to the boats that are catching all the fish in the tournament,
Right.
and you're like, all right. I remember he had caught some. He went out where we got the release, drove back in, hooked up right away. I mean, we were sitting in the same spot for an hour. He released 2, moved back, got him again. We're like, what?
It's
That's the way he operates. You can't.
But I think there's obviously a massive advantage to having that tower, right? To being that high up. Like you can see, like when the fish are there, like you can see him a lot more. I mean, obviously he's got an insane amount of experience, but like that's one thing that I'm most excited about for this upcoming year is
Do we know if he's rocking sonar or not?
he's got it. They definitely.
Yeah, I don't know.
They do a
Andrew's
lot of
got
marlin
it.
fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does GB allow?
Sonars in his tournaments?
I think so.
Yeah, they don't pay.
Yeah, I mean, I heard like down here it's really hard to mark like fish. There's so much other things out there than you're not just out in the blue and you're trying to mark sailfish or marlin.
Well, you guys use them in Costa Rica too, and you said even there it's like
You can
pretty
mark 'em.
wild.
Yeah, you mark things that out there. You're out in the middle of nowhere, so like it's gonna be that. Like, there's not really other options or a turtle or something. But
Right.
I mean, once you get it down, you could see the marks.
Right.
But here, I think they're really marking bait, trying to find bait and stuff more. Not really so much the sails.
Right.
I think it's hard to mark the sails, but if you're in the area where bait's at, then you're in the right area.
Yeah.
So
So we finish up the challenge now.
We go to final sale.
some serious. That was so Fish On basically jumped ahead of us.
Okay.
Right,
After
because
the challenge.
After the challenge, so they were 1 point ahead of us, or 2 points. 2 points, right, or 1 point? 1 point ahead of us at this point. So we're like, all right, like not a bad spot to be in. At least we know we need to beat for sure.
we're sitting in second
Yeah,
place by 1 point, going into final sale.
there was definitely a little bit of kind of like we were happy that we were fishing in Miami and not West Palm,
Right.
if that makes sense. Like, because we know that Andrew is like dialed in West Palm.
Yeah.
Miami, not to say that he can't raise fish, but it's definitely not his backyard.
Right. It's a different ball game down there almost.
Exactly.
The way that water moves it's way different.
Miami's tough. I feel like those guys know Miami good. I mean,
Well, you guys got who is it?
With Travis. So we got Travis, which helped a lot for
Jimmy
the.
David, man. You gotta have him as your mentor.
Yeah.
That's
oh
sick.
yeah.
Well, we saw, it
legend.
was funny, we saw James, I think on Saturday, go by in the LNH, and we talked to him on the, like, Travis called him or whatever, was getting some intel just about, like, what was going, they were doing a charter.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's definitely good to have people who can call and get phone calls. So, you know, going into final sale, I think, you know, you're like, okay, you know, what's the worst that could happen? I guess we lose, but, you know, what's the best thing that could happen is we win. And I think it wasn't, I don't think it was a like really a doubt. I don't know. I think I told you, I was like, we're gonna win this. It's gonna happen. And not that you were doubting, but I was like reminding myself. I'm like,
Honestly,
we're gonna win.
it felt good. I don't know. It just, everything just felt good. I mean, we had the team. We said we're out there a lot.
Yep.
And even if we didn't win, I felt like for what we did already, that was huge. I mean, yes, we wanted to win, but I felt like that was still something like pretty cool what we've done already. I mean, first time team coming out there and sitting in second place going into final sale.
Going against like guys like Dudas and stuff.
Exactly.
Like that,
I mean, these guys are legends.
you beat them. You kicked their ass. It's like
My favorite thing people love to say though, they're like, man, like even if you guys would have just like placed in the top 10, it would have been great. And it's like, no, because I went into Danny day one. I was like, look, like I don't want to just go out there and get a participation award. Like we're not here just to like raise a couple flags. Like I want everybody to know by the end of the season, like who Liquidated is.
oh, everybody
What we're
knows.
doing. Everyone knows. Yeah. So that was our goal, you know? So the expectations were high. And I think it's funny because a lot of people kind of were like, who are these guys? Like, what do they think they're doing? But after the end of it all, you know, going into final sale, like people were like, all right, where are they fishing at tomorrow? What's going on? So the first day of final sale, we fished pretty much right next to Do This Again, because
we
you
were
remember he
pretty
won
far
the first
yeah.
day, and we got second on the first day.
Okay.
So like first day, I think I got like 5 releases. It was just we were on me. I usually fish me and Trey. We try to keep the same guys together, right? Because you kind of learn. Trey's kind of he's pretty quiet, younger guy. Super experienced. He can, you know, throw a kite up, make it do spins, and then send it out and do all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's nice to have him working, you know, with me because I'm obviously, when it comes to the kites and rigging and all that stuff, I'll admit it all day. I don't have the experience that most of the guys have. But,
Yeah.
you know, being on the rod, like that's where I'm going to excel because I've spent the most time doing that. So I kind of like with Trey, it's like, hey, like Trey, get me on the rod, like give me the bite.
Get him up, yeah.
And then I'll take it over, and then you keep fishing because it makes more sense to have the guy who's more skilled kind of continue to fish the kite when someone's hooked up. Because if I'm hooked up, at that point, all it is me and Danny.
Yeah, you guys.
We're just talking back and forth. So that first
front.
yeah,
Try to
exactly.
get him to the front.
But the guy who's on the kite, he's got to be able to like move baits. He's got to be able to talk to other people and get stuff happening. Where I'm just only focused on that fish basically at that point. Danny's focused on the fish. So you really need that teamwork. So the first day it was funny because I normally kind of fish like the mid and the long, and then Trey will kind of sit on the short, and we just like kind of talk to each other, like looking, everyone's just like focused on their side. And it's funny because Trey, you know, again, I think he's like 21. He's pretty young, but again,
pretty young, yeah, 21,
his dad is Eddie Wheeler, who runs Cabana, obviously, and you know he's been around for a while. So it's funny because you know things will happen, and Trey, being a young guy, he's like, guys, just keep looking at your baits.
Relax.
Keep focused on your baits. You know, just because this side's getting a bite, don't mean you should be looking over there because you're probably getting a bite on the right. So it's good to have
Don't
Trey
look at
there.
my fish. Look at
Yeah.
your fish that's about to pop up
Exactly.
on your bait.
So you love that aspect. So that first day, it felt really good for me because I was just like bringing them in, felt really confident. I never felt like, I think every release was really quick, easy.
Yeah, smooth,
No fighting.
no tangles, no crazy things. Especially from the fish, they can go, you know, every which way it wants to go. They were all cooperating.
Yeah, I got-
It's kind of crazy.
So obviously
It was
the
easy. It
first
was just like,
first
all right,
day ending
really
up in
cool.
second was massive, right? Because at this point you're feeling real good.
Yeah.
I think Fish On was like in 12th, or they were nowhere
way,
near us.
Way past that, I think.
Yeah, so it
I
was.
knew you pretty much had it in the bag. Well, day two's always
You
Yeah,
never know. You never know.
We were
felt
definitely
good.
celebrating.
Yeah, we're
Definitely
definitely
celebrating.
Yeah, I was like, we just need to.
won the day, the second
just
place
need to do-
daily.
We don't need to like do great tomorrow. We just need to do good. Yeah.
That's what we said. We're like, we just got to hold our position,
Just,
basically.
just
Like,
go out, fish, catch a couple, and then we should.
whew, what happened?
It wasn't looking good. It wasn't looking good in the
We didn't.
morning.
I don't think we got one bite until after.
After 12, yeah. And Fish On, I think he
started-
had
he like
2 or 3 or maybe not 4.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, he's catching up. Oh, damn. We got to get one. It was really weird that second day with, I don't know, it was like green water, weird edge, no wind. It was It was tough. Definitely really tough. I thought fishing would be a little bit better, and then finally, I don't know what happened, but we just made a move and
I think I got a
catching
bite.
couple.
I think I remember
catching a couple. Like, all right, we can do it. We can do this.
You're right there.
Yeah.
I think I got the first bite of that first day of the first release, and I was like just yelling like, "All right, boys, like let's do it again." You know, like that's the biggest thing is as soon as you're getting released, it's like we need to reset. We need to get the bait looking right. Like there's not even time. Like Danny's calling it in. Whoever's on the camera is holding, and everybody else is just working to get that next bait. Because, I mean, especially in that moment, I mean, it's every second. Every second is a bait in the water. Yeah.
Every second counts.
Fish on was right in front of us. Like we're neck and neck with each other. He catches one. He's out there. I'm pulling position. We catch one. He right there pulls back in position, and we're just like back and forth catching fish.
Yeah.
It's like we're literally like a battling out. Like, all right, you got one, all right, I got one. You got one, I got one. I was like.
But that's what makes it fun. That's like the best fucking feeling.
There was like a line, and we went on the outside of this. Remember that weed line?
Yeah.
It was like really just like crappy
Thick
water.
green line, green water and blue water.
And we went on the outside of it, and there was literally like 6-foot swell out there, and it was just like going off, and we started seeing tailors.
Yeah, they're tailing.
We saw them tailing, but they weren't like really kind of getting into our spread because we're pointed straight north. And our kites, we just couldn't get our kites to bank out. And I started like messing with the riggers. I'm like, guys, we got to get these kites to bank. We got to get them to bank. And it was funny because like once we got them to bank, we started getting bites. And we started like a couple times getting the flats out to them. So that's like one thing that I think, again, this year, having a gap tower is for Danny to see those tailors.
Yeah.
You know, like he was standing on top of the console.
Like 3 or 4, I think, and we caught 2, if not off like tailing actually right at us, pitching and right in front of them, and
like you're seeing them, like you're literally like seeing them in the wake, and you're like,
oh,
that's
here they
so
go.
sick.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was going. We had like a little half tower too, so it wasn't even nothing crazy.
Crazy, yeah. But now you guys are you got a good vantage point now.
Yeah.
definitely
So
set
we
up
ended
now.
up basically again fish on right south of us, and the goal of that, like even going into the tournament, we knew like we got to beat fish on. So
Fish on by 2 spots.
yeah,
at least.
what makes more sense, like us going and fishing alone, or like we need to be on top of him in the sense like I told Danny, I'm like day 1, let's just like get ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
And then we just sit on top of.
Make sure that he doesn't.
Yeah, because
everybody else who was second, third, and fourth,
It didn't matter. Right?
they were pretty far, below us where they weren't going to pass us, and where we were at, in that position that day, they weren't going to pass.
So you guys are just fighting.
It was just
jackets
fish
at
on,
that point.
pretty much.
oh yeah,
Pretty
people were
much.
driving by us looking like giving us the hoot, like 'cause they
some,
saw
like set up like, oh, we don't want to
us
get
and fish
involved
on.
with that. Yeah.
We were at one point like he was backing down, trying to get away from us, and we were backing down. And I think Danny's talked to him afterwards. Obviously, there's no ill feelings.
Yeah, no
but
hard
he would have
feelings,
done the same thing to us. You know, I think anybody in that situation would. That's tournament fishing. That's the point of it, right? Like to be strategic and kind of make moves.
Yeah, it
when
was
you need
nothing
to.
crazy out of line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just hard fishing with
It
each
just
other.
it makes more sense too, because let's say if it starts going off where he's at, well, you want to be right next to him.
Right.
But if he's not catching fish and you've got 5 fish ahead of him, then that's fine.
We're looking
just
good.
stay next to him, So it was weird because I think Remix started catching him. They were getting him down south. A couple guys were starting to get him at the south boundary.
Yeah.
And
Like
people were
15
making
miles south
and
of
then
us.
that was when I think Sandman started getting them down there as well.
And you guys ended up on top, man.
And then
5th place overall.
It was-
I had
it was-
Andrew.
I don't think it really set in because like after it was lines out, I kind of was just like everyone was like getting
Yeah, I got
excited.
down. I'm like, like I'm screaming and Pat's like, it's not done yet. I'm like, it's done.
I was like until everything is done, like I just really didn't believe it, just until everything's checked and everything is like guaranteed because the first tournament, Skipjack, they lost their GoPro.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I'm like,
2
until
fish,
this is
you're
like,
3
we're
fish
turning
gone.
this in and Jamie is like, you're good. Like, I'm not celebrating.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
But what happened after it was all good? What? You guys go nuts?
I think the first tournament, we definitely went more nuts. First tournament went to Rachel's. This last tournament, we were just like,
Yeah, we did.
I have to edit that out.
but yeah, I think it really wasn't. Honestly, I think it wasn't a massive surprise.
Right.
So the celebration wasn't as like massive. This is like, 4 months of like build up, and it was kind of like, all right, we did it, we won.
Yeah.
So like the first tournament was like, holy crap, and we also won a lot more money in the first tournament.
Yeah.
You know, knowing that you're like possibly going to get $250,000 like
Adds a little bit more excitement.
you're
to it.
excited. Like that's, you know, you're excited for that.
The crew's getting checks. Everybody's happy. That makes sense.
But I just think it felt like just unreal too. I don't know, the whole thing. Like it was real, but it just like I don't know, it just felt unreal.
I think the coolest thing is I tell people all the time that like obviously respect is earned, right? Respect is earned, especially in the fishing world.
Yep.
Like there's a lot of guys who come along, think they're hot shit, and it's like they got a big game, they talk a lot, but it's like people kind of see through that, right? They're like, all right, this guy talks a lot. You know, he says, oh, he got 40 sailfish today. Yeah, I'm sure he did, right? So to actually like do this consistently and to, you know, be top 5 every, you know, those 3 tournaments alone, and then to walk away with the Burgundy Jackets, it definitely like legitimizes, you know, Danny as a captain. I think it legitimizes our team. You know, me, myself, I feel legitimized because I'm like, we were able to put it all together, right? We were able to make it happen. And as much as like it's a team effort, it really, me and Danny are definitely like, we're the bar, right? We got to set the bar. So the other guys, if Danny's slacking off and Danny's on his phone doing whatever he's doing, the guys pick up on that.
Right.
Right? Because if Danny's up there and he's like a hawk, he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? They're like, oh shit.
You guys set the precedent basically, and
The level's got to be high because if you don't walk around like, and I tell our guys, like, when we pull up somewhere, everything's got to look good. I want everyone to have their shirts on right because like we have this level that I want to always, you know,
it's professional. It's
put out there. Yeah.
Exactly.
you guys are slayers.
Professional boat. Look, play the part.
That's one thing I appreciate about Danny because, again, he worked on the big boats, and it's a different world, right? When you're working on a big boat, everything is perfect, and it's just expectations. So a lot of kids, you know, a lot of guys in South Florida, it's like they don't really have that same kind of like idea of it. But that was knowing about Danny's Marlin stuff, as much as like it might not be a huge advantage here, I kind of also had a vision of like one day the tournament scene, you know, growing out of South Florida. Like we've already talked about, we're like, all right, like,
You gonna go fish Marlin tournaments? You think?
yeah, I mean,
I talked about the white marlin.
we were actually talking about trying to get a boat in for the White Marlin Open, trying to hire somebody, but it just kind of didn't work out. But I mean, the goal, after this 39, the goal would be get to 60, you know, sporty, and go to Costa Rica, go do the whole scene.
That'd be awesome, man. Yeah, the Marlin tournaments, dude, it's a different world. I was just in Walker's a couple weeks ago. Dude, Walker's is insane. Carl Allen's done a phenomenal job over there, and like, dude, the boats, everybody, the vibes on the docks, just the way these guys operate is just it's different than South Florida. I mean, you know,
sporty lifestyle is just, it's different. Those guys are, you know, they're professionals traveling around. I mean, they got their shit tight. Right. Like it's the real deal.
Talking to those guys is insane. I had a conversation with Scott Levine, I think is his last name. He's absolute, like, I think he has like 27 world records, light tackle, like 2-pound tests. He caught a sailfish on 2-pound test, like crazy stuff. Some of these guys are just absolutely nuts. But
they chase them all around the world, those guys. I mean, they're live, breed, die, bill fishing. I mean, it's crazy.
I love it.
Awesome.
So what's on tap for you guys next? I know you guys are fishing the meat stuff, but you're more locked into the
I want to make it very clear. The meat stuff is like, it's like fun stuff, but it's not like, we're not like really, really serious about it. We're like kind of serious, but like
it's relaxed.
It's fun, It's like
competitive nature.
It's $2,500 buy-in, you know, across the board. It's like if we do good, we do good. Like it's not like we would like to win, but at the same time, we're like, it's all right if we don't. You know, I'm not gonna die.
Sailfishing's your thing.
But the sailfishing tournaments, like Danny, I'm like, hey, like if we don't do good,
out. You guys are getting ready for this next season. Like what's going on now in this off season?
We're already. I'm like telling Danny, I'm like, let's go get some Marlin.
Yeah.
All right.
Bahamas.
We're gonna go
to Bahamas, man.
We just got some new dredges and stuff, and
you're gonna go do it on the 39.
Yeah.
Dude, you're gonna put someone in the front there, put them in the harness, and just chase that fish.
See what happens. Hopefully, hopefully.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, no, they're around, so definitely gonna try to get one next week or.
Oh, you guys are going soon?
Yeah, we're gonna try to go next week. We gotta wrap. We're gonna get the boat wrapped with the big Liquidated logo, just so make sure everyone can see us, you know, coming. Now, they can hear us, but now they're definitely gonna see us.
Yeah.
So now I think it's just we learned a lot that last season, obviously, and we need to kind of make some personnel like changes and stuff. We had a mate that was with us before. He kind of moved on, and now it's who do we find? we're in a really good spot right now because before last year, we were like nobody.
Yeah.
Now it's like
Everybody wants to fish with you guys.
people are hitting us up trying to go fishing. So it's like, all right. But it's hard because you just can't put anybody on the boat. Right? Like I told Danny, I was like, I'd rather get younger guys without the ego that are just like, that are down, that want to like fish, who aren't expecting some big fat paycheck, you know, they're just like, I want to fish and I want to win and have that. Like we have
We're
our
gonna be learning a lot too. I mean, you know, so like they got to put that in mind. I feel like
oh yeah,
it's, you know, they want to be there and they put in the work. They're gonna be learning a lot. You know, especially someone who's a little bit more inexperienced.
Yep.
So I mean, that's always good. You know, to have you kind of build them up your way too, instead of they have their own little hot head on their way of doing it kind of thing. But
yeah. Our last mate, he said after he started working with us, he's like, man, you guys actually fish a lot. You know, because like during the sailfish season, it's like every day. Yeah. It's like we come in at 3 in the afternoon. And I'm like, Danny, what time are we leaving tomorrow morning? It's like, well, I'll be here at 5. You know, like it's
fuel, bro.
our fuel bill and our bait
450
bill.
hours.
The bait guys love us.
yeah,
Well, that's good.
The bait guys absolutely love us. We have like just stockpile of bait at all times, but it's the journey of trying to build this bigger and better and trying to win. Not just, it's one thing to go out and, you know, fun fish.
Right.
And that's totally fine. I think not everyone is, you know, trying to be a professional tournament fishing team, but I do want to get this to a point where we grow it, and we talked about like possibly TV shows and stuff in the future, or just something cool that we can build on. We're gonna do some traveling. We want to go to Costa Rica a bunch this winter before sailfish season, just for I want to go and raise 20, 30 sailfish in a day, just get
it's
that
fun.
much more time.
It's definitely fun.
Yeah, time on the rods.
You're going to have a blast over there.
Yeah, that'll be the big goals, and just keep fishing. Next season will definitely be a weird feeling, I guess, because now it's like you've done it. So, you know, I think Showtime did it back to back, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they've done it back to back. So I don't want to make any promises, but
Oh, we'll see.
we're going
I mean,
to
you
fight
can't
for
win it
back
back to back if you don't win one.
This is
So
true.
we're in a good spot.
We've already got
Exactly.
we're already 50% there.
Exactly. You can't win back
Yeah.
to back if you don't win one. So you got to win one to win back to back.
Yeah, we just paid for the Jimmy, actually. Paid for the early bird, the rock star entry for the Jimmy. So we're locked into the Jimmy already. Yeah, there's only bigger and better things coming. Bigger boats, bigger trips, bigger fish. And
Yeah.
we want to get a big swordfish at some point. I feel like we've been getting skunked on the...
Big nickel.
So, I mean, I'll take a 300 pounder. Our biggest one that we ever
Illegal
caught
one.
was 315 in that tournament, the meat
Yeah.
fish tournament.
That's a big fish.
That was in a sword tournament.
Yeah, the swordfish mayhem down in the Keys back in the day.
That's pretty sweet.
That was a 5-hour fiasco fighting that thing for a tournament. But yeah, just people are like, oh, do you want to go out and do this? Or, you know, like going out and meat fishing, catching kings. It's like, yeah, and like, it's not exciting. It's not exciting. I mean, it's cool, but to go out
Get the
and-
boat all messy for no reason.
I know that's during the sailfish season. People are like, someone gets like a tuna or a mahi. They're like, "Oh, do you guys want it?" We're like, "No, throw it away. Get it out. Like, don't put it in the boat.
Don't make the boat dirty.
Yeah, don't put the blood in the boat." So
It's a lot of work to clean all that for.
Oh, yeah.
You know, unless you're gonna get a bunch of them, but
Right.
the first one or two, it's like, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Especially kingfish, we let them all go.
yeah.
That would get bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for meat season, we'll catch them again. Yeah.
Yep.
It's definitely a lot of fun. The sail fishing, I tell people, like being hooked up to a triple, double, quad. I mean,
insane.
It's the best
You
feeling.
see them all skipping across the water, over under each other. I mean, it's definitely a lot more exciting than I feel like kingfish.
And it's funny because like even like when you go on fun fishing, like we want to get we're like not that we're getting mad, but like if someone's messing around and we're trying to get a release, it's like, hey,
Lock in.
like even as fun fishing, it's like we're still trying to get those.
Every day we
releases.
go out there and things a tournament too. I feel like even when
Yeah.
we're fun fishing, it's the same routine. Like we're hooked up, you know, try to do the same thing, you know. So that way when we are in a tournament, there's no, I'll just, you know, I didn't do this. It
Yeah.
should just be repetitive.
You got to practice like it's game day, essentially.
I can be a ball buster as well. Like if I get the kite out before somebody else, I'm like, what are you doing over there? How you let the YouTuber get the kite out first? You know, I'm like, what are you used to waiting on? So yeah, it's fun. I think it's good to have competition between everybody, but to try to push, you know, each other. And I'm trying to push Danny to try to be the best captain he can be and figure out what we need to do as a team to grow and to keep that level of intensity there. And the hunger, you know, because you hear about people like it's in every sport. Like maybe you get really lucky your first year in the NFL or whatever. You worked really hard to get to the NFL, and then it's just like downhill from there. So I definitely don't want to go downhill from here. That's for sure.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys and, seeing what happens next season. And I hope you guys go back to back. And, I really appreciate you guys letting me hang out in here, dude. All this money behind you is insane.
We're going to need a bigger wall for next.
Paying for all the bait.
I love it. Just the bait.
Pretty much.
I love it. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys sitting down with me. And looking forward to hopefully doing this again,
Absolutely.
Let's do it back-to-back discussion. Well, it's different back-to-back.
I love it.
Well, guys, you guys got to go check out Team Liquidated. They're the Quest for the Crest champions.
They might do it again. I hope they do.
Look out for them and make sure you guys go like and subscribe. Catch you guys later.
Thanks for joining us on the Science of Fishing. We hope that this episode was helpful and you learned something for the next time you're wetting a line. Before we cast off, we would like to thank Bloody Battery, Flush Master, and Black Reef Co. for sponsoring this episode. Stay hooked by following us on social media at Science of Fishing and hitting the subscribe button. And if you know someone who'd enjoy this, please share it with them. Until we meet again, catch 'em up.